All right, hi grade 11. I want to just take a few minutes and go through how to run this simulation and this assignment. It will be assessed, so make sure that you do a good job on it. I'm going to I'll post it today on Thursday, and you'll have until Monday to complete it. Work with somebody else. I really encourage you to work with somebody else to collect the data, and you can brainstorm the answers to questions, but you need to write your answers in your own words, okay? So you have the same kind of idea in your answers, but you're welcome to work with somebody else to kind of think it through because this is meant to be a thinking, challenging simulation lab activity. Okay, it's not just regurgitation, you have to think about these things. So the assignment is here. You have three main parts. So you have a carbon cycle simulation where it tells you what to run the simulation and then 3 questions to answer. The step 2, you're going to change the parameters a little bit and answer 4 questions here. And we're going to change it to the curb emission settings, tells you what settings to use, answer 2 questions, change the settings again, answer 3 questions, do the feedback effects this time, and you're going to change the settings and answer 2 questions, and change the settings and answer 2 more questions. As you go through each part, you're going to fill in the data in the data table. So you're going to put in the data here in the gigatons of carbon for each one. So really I should put the gigatons as the units. Okay, so I'll put that here for you guys to fill in. So what I recommend you do is have one person filling in the tables. So table 1, this is for the step 1 and step 2 of the carbon cycle part. And then we have curb emissions part, step 1, step 2 data table, step 1, step 2 data table for feedback effects. Then you're going to have the conclusion to write, kind of bringing this all together at the end. So here is the simulation you're going to be running. And it's all the little gray bars here in this carbon cycle diagram, each one is 25 gigatons of carbon, so you have to count them to get the actual numbers. It does tell you here what the numbers are, which is great. Use that to help you as well. Okay, and what you're going to do is you have different settings. The first 2 parts are the carbon cycle part, so make sure it's on this setting here for carbon cycle, and keep it on basic until the last part. You have a graph here of levels, and when you can always start with kind of a reset to make sure you're at 0. So your normal parameters are like this. You set run decade, and it does 10 years from 2010 to 2020. Here's the carbon release, gigatons, and here's the numbers of change for each one. So you can pause, write down the data. So if one partner has this open maybe on Zoom, so you're sharing the screen, and they're running it, following the instructions, the other partner is writing down the numbers in a data table, it's probably the most efficient way to collect all this data. So just hit run decade multiple times, and you're going to write down the numbers each time. So changing every time, you can write down those numbers in your tables and use it to answer the questions. And the graph is happening here at the same time. Okay, and I asked you to go the first one all the way to 2110. I went 1 decade too far. Okay, I'm going to tell you to change different parameters. So for the first two parts, you can change here the fossil fuel use. You can reduce fossil fuel use, or you can increase it. Okay, based on what the parameter says. You can say no fossil fuels are being used. You can change the deforestation rate. You can increase it, more deforestation is happening, or less deforestation is happening. You can change that as well. And then run the decade to see how that would change things, like how things are going down the graph here because of that. But always reset back to start before a new simulation starts. When you get done part 1, you're going to go to part 2, which is curb emissions. You're going to keep it on basic, and you're going to change the parameters of reducing the emissions as it instructs you, and then hit run decade again and collect your data, writing the numbers down you see in the simulation here. Okay. Once you do that part of it, what it says, you're going to go to the third part, which is feedback effects, and it's going to have melt tundra changing over here. So here you can change how much tundra is melting, and it's asking you to do 1/6 for one set of simulations, so running your decades again, but with less tundra melting, and then even less tundra melting at 1/12, and write down that data again. Okay, so you're writing your numbers down here based on the parameters set up here. The graph will help you kind of see the patterns. and if you're reaching the goals. So the green is the historical CO2 data in the atmosphere. The pale gray is what scientists are projecting. The dark gray is what your simulation is actually doing, and our goal limit is here. Set by what our goal limit should be to kind of maintain below dangerous levels for the environment. Okay, so you're going to use this simulation to do this with a partner, fill in all the data tables here, and answer. There are 16 questions plus a conclusion. Okay, so you have from today, Thursday, until Monday to complete this task. If you're having issues, please feel free to email me and let me know, and I'm happy to help you. Okay, good luck, guys.